the quiet farming town of Villisca, Iowa, the summer of 1912 felt perfectly ordinary. On Sunday, June 9th, Josiah Moore, 43, a successful local businessman, and his wife Sarah, 39, took their 4 children to church. Herman was 11, Catherine 10, Boyd 7, and little Paul was only 5. After the service, the family kindly invited 2 young sisters from church, 12-year-old Lena Stillinger and 8-year-old Ina Stillinger, to spend the night at their modest 2-story white house on 2nd Avenue. They all ate dinner together, said their prayers, and went to bed. Around midnight, someone quietly entered the unlocked back door, carrying Josiah Moore's own axe from the barn. The killer moved with terrifying purpose. He first went to the parents' bedroom on the ground floor and struck Josiah Moore repeatedly in the head with the sharp side of the axe while he slept. Sarah Moore was killed the same way. Their skulls were crushed so violently that pieces of bone and brain matter were later found embedded in the ceiling and walls. Then, the killer climbed the stairs to the children's rooms. He murdered all 4 more children in their beds, using the blunt side of the axe so the blows would be quieter. Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and little Paul were struck multiple times. One child's head was hit so hard that the axe blade became embedded in the skull and had to be pried out. After killing the Moore children, the killer went to the guest room where the 2 Stillinger sisters were sleeping. He pulled their nightgowns up over their heads. Both Lena and Ina were sexually assaulted before they were killed with the axe. When the killer was finally finished, he did not leave the house. He stayed inside with the 8 dead bodies for several hours. He covered every window with cloths and a sheet taken from one of the beds so no light could escape. He went downstairs to the kitchen, ate some food, and washed the blood off his hands in the basin. He placed a single piece of bacon on the floor next to the bloody axe. Then he simply walked out the back door and vanished into the night. The bodies were not discovered until the morning of June 10th. A neighbor noticed all the curtains were still drawn in the middle of the day and went to check on the family. When he opened the door, the smell of blood was overwhelming. The entire town was plunged into terror. The crime scene was so gruesome that some of the first officers on the scene had to be physically removed because they were crying. The killer had been so careful that he left almost no usable evidence. The case became one of the largest investigations in Iowa history, but the murderer was never caught. Over 100 years later, the Villisca Axe Murders remain completely unsolved. The house still stands today as a museum. Visitors regularly report hearing children crying, footsteps on the stairs, doors slamming by themselves, and the unmistakable feeling that someone is standing right behind them in the dark. Some say the killer never truly left,